Hello, everyone out there in Facebook land. Good to be with you this Wednesday afternoon. I was trying to think what day it was for a minute. It's been one of those weeks where the days have all blurred together. I'm sure you can relate. But it's awesome to be with you this Wednesday afternoon. I appreciate each one of you. It's amazing what God is doing with our network and how He's growing it and how the encouragement just is overflowing. I just want to express my gratitude to each one of you. I am excited to introduce you to my guest today that is a new friend to me, but I think you'll warm up to her very quickly as you get to know her. She's just one of those people that is easy to like right out the gate, and that's been my experience. Let me tell you a little bit about Susan. Susan is involved in a lot of things, as you'll hear, but I think it gives you a big glimpse into her big heart. Susan is a best-selling author and inspirational teacher whose passion is helping women discover their God-given purpose and vision. She is the author of the powerful Bible study, Start with Vision, a transformational guide that equips women to build their lives with clarity, confidence, and faith. Through her workshops, retreats, and coaching programs, Susan travels across the country sharing messages of hope, healing, and purpose. When she's not hosting her own events, she's speaking at women's conferences and retreats, empowering others to rise above their past and step into the vision God has designed for them. Her ministry extends beyond the walls of the church. Her books are also being used in women's prisons, where she teaches weekly, helping women rebuild their lives from the inside out through faith, truth, and identity in Christ. Susan's heart is to see every woman walk in freedom and fulfillment, discovering who they are and what they're called to do. She offers individual and group coaching using tools like DISC assessment to help women understand themselves and grow in purpose-driven leadership. Born from her own journey of pain to purpose, Susan's message is one of healing, hope, and transformation, reminding every woman that no matter where she's been, God can make all things new. I love all of that, and I'm intrigued and want to learn more. So let's learn together. Susan, welcome to the You Are Worthy Network.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you so much for doing this, and thank you for having me. I'm
Of
honored.
course. No, it's our honor to have you. So Susan, one of the blessings that has taken place along with that growth that I was talking about early on in the group
Mhm.
is it's astounding to me that when people watch this, and what'll happen is people will watch it when they get off work tonight, people will watch it, for the next several days. Um, People from all over the world are going to view this. So I never want people to assume where somebody's from because we're just a little blimp on that radar that's the globe. Where are you from?
I'm from Talladega, Alabama, so in the great USA. So yeah, it's a little place. A lot of people say Talladega. It's close to Birmingham. So
Yeah, I was gonna say, so I when Susan told me she was from Talladega, I knew exactly where it was. Well, I can't say exactly. I've never actually been to the town of Talladega, but I know where it's at. So to give you guys a little point of reference, she just said Birmingham, which that is the closest big city, but kind of between Birmingham and Atlanta, but closer to the Birmingham side for sure. Um, Susan, tell us about your family.
oh my goodness. I have two amazing children. They they went through college, very successful. I'm blessed, very, very blessed. My husband, we own our own company, so I let him run the company, and I all I do is go out and share love with the women. That's what I do. That's where my heart is. So we're just a tight family. We love to get together. We love to go on vacations together. We're just a tight knit family, and I wish that for everyone. Yes, and we invite people in that doesn't have family, come join our family. So we're good at that on vacations and here at my home.
I love that. Um, so any grandkids yet?
Yes, we have two. So I'm a
Oh,
GG. I'm a GG. So yeah, we're looking at 7 and 4. So they're precious. I don't get to see them as much as I would like to, but do we? I mean, the way the world is today, we're so busy. So I would love to see them more. I'm putting a pool in. I'm hoping that helps.
yeah, the water usually does help. It's amazing how that works, right?
Yes. Well, I live on the lake, so that didn't work too good. So maybe I'm thinking a pool's going to be better. So,
I like the strategy.
yes. Yeah.
Um, yeah, I'm like, where do we start? I think I know where I want to start. In
Where
your
do
bio, you talk a lot about the retreats and the book. And by the way, just in case we don't get to the book, and I hope we do,
you?
um, start with vision. I know in your bio it says it's for women. I will tell you guys, when I have a guest on here, I make every effort to get at least one book that they have. And so I did download Susan's book on Kindle, and I am almost halfway through it, even though I'm a guy. And I can tell you, guys, and gals, of course, that it's not just for women. The
No.
biblical principles, the practical insight and wisdom, you need to pick this up. And I don't know if it's, by the way, I don't know if it's still on sale, but I grabbed it for 79 cents with my credit. So it's very affordable even without the credits.
Yes.
Start with Vision. It's a great book. I wanted to say that.
Thank you.
Um, but you have a journey like most people that started before you were an entrepreneur. I know
Yeah.
you had your hands in a couple different things, but tell us a little bit about that journey and how it prepared you for what you do now.
Oh my goodness. Well, I was in direct sales. I've always been an entrepreneur, always. So I was in direct sales, and I'll just go ahead and tell you about what brought me up to writing books and everything. So I was at the top, won a trip to Ireland, very successful. I had over 1,000 ladies on my team. We were really tight knit. But the thing is I was running by myself. And a lot of times when we're entrepreneurs and we get into direct sales, we set our goals and we run. And a lot of times we forget about the people around us. And God wants us to pull all the people together and we run together as a tribe. So I was running by myself, winning all the trips. And one day I started getting a headache, a really, really bad headache. So I couldn't figure out what was going on, passed out a couple of times,
Hmm.
went to the hospital, and I ended up in the hospital for about 3 months at first. Couldn't figure out what was going on with me. And have you ever heard of meningitis, Steve?
I sure have.
I had meningitis.
Oh my
I had a
goodness.
bad case of meningitis. I mean, it slowed me down. It slowed me down, but my setback was it was a setup to move me forward, which at the time I thought my setback was going to keep me down. But I was determined to get up and keep going. I was determined that nothing's going to hold me down because there's too much out there for me. So I was in the hospital for a while and I started focusing on the good things about what was going on. I could hear, I could see, I could touch. The things, that was happening that I could actually do is what I started focusing on because a lot of times we focus on the bad stuff. And whatever we focus on is what's going to grow. So I knew if I focused on the good stuff, it was going to get better. And it did. I would take my legs. I could not even move my legs. My legs were so heavy. I would hang them off the
Hmm.
side of the bed. And I would sit and watch my feet and visualize my feet moving because I could not move my legs. I could not move my feet. So after months and months of working in PT, I began to walk. I began to stand up. I began moving forward and I was focusing on walking. I was focusing on moving. So all I could do is write down all the things that was coming to me that I was grateful for. And so after that, after being in the hospital for a while, they had to induce coma, put me in a coma for a while. I was in there for 3 days. But after that, it was just like I think God did that so he could work on my brain. I really do, because I started writing books. I started doing things that I've never done before. I started working with my whole entire team more. And guys, it was just like I was a different person, a different person. So, Steve, I don't remember what your question was exactly. I just got off on a rabbit trail, but I just, you know, that was a part of my life that I didn't know if I was going to go forward or go backwards. And that's when I started writing my books, because all of a sudden I started moving forward and I realized this is not a setback. This is not a gap that God's not in. God pushed me forward. I am moving forward faster than I've ever moved in my life. And it's just a lot of times we take things that happen to us and we stop and we give up. But you've got to move forward no matter what. You have to push yourself. And to this day, I'm still pushing myself.
Ah, that's remarkable. I love your attitude about that whole experience, and it's it's very similar as far as a mindset of the person that introduced you and I, Deanna.
Yeah, Anna. Yes.
Uh,
Love her.
she said to me, this, you know, talking about her experiences,
Mhm.
this is not something that happened to me. This
Yeah,
is something that happened for me. And your attitude's the same.
it is. Yeah. Yes. Because
It,
when you tell me that, what she said there, and when I read it in her book, I was just like, that's me.
yeah,
That's
yeah. And that's a heart and a mind, and we're talking about you now,
Mhm.
of a winner, somebody of resilience.
Mhm.
And I don't want to lose another component that I heard you say that can't be minimized, even in that situation,
Mhm.
which we're not going to minimize the situation. You were in a coma.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's serious.
Mhm.
Obviously, God had you.
He
Praise
did.
him for that.
Yeah.
But you chose, and it is a choice. You chose gratitude.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't think we talk about the power of gratitude enough.
Mm-mm. We don't. We don't. We don't recognize it enough. We don't sit down and just, write out the things that we're so thankful for, because we are given so much. Steve, we are given so much. We wake up and we breathe. I mean, I get to go to the gym and work out at 4 o'clock in the morning. I get to, I just lost 18 pounds, guys. I feel so strong. And when
Yeah.
you've been so weak, because believe me, when I had meningitis, I was weak.
Oh,
And when you've been so weak, and then you figure out what your body needs, because your body, you've got to feed it. A lot of us think if we don't feed it, we'll lose weight. That's so not true. You've got to feed your body,
mm.
and you work out to get energy. So I look at everything that I do now. I get to do this.
Yeah, it's I've got a funny thought. I better comment on it before I forget. But um it is amazing how gratitude accumulates. Like, even I tell people all the time, even if you're having a terrible day, and we certainly don't want to minimize awful days, we all have them. But if you can just, if you say them out loud, that's fine, but journaling's even better. Like, I'm grateful I'm alive today. I'm grateful that the hot water heater is working and I had a warm shower in the middle of January when it's 10 degrees outside, right? I'm grateful that I've got a sweater. I'm grateful that I've got a coat and a hat in the closet. I'm grateful for there is some food in the refrigerator. It's like all of a sudden you've just reeled off 7, 8 things without even thinking about it. Keep
Absolutely.
going. Keep going. You'll be amazed at how quickly you get to 50 and then
Oh,
100 because it accumulates. So and I would, I appreciate what you said. I get to go to the gym because that's mindset too. Oh, I have to go to the gym. And I'm a big gym person too. I go 5 days a week. It's like I love going.
yeah.
And I was not having a great day yesterday. And I even made a video about it, blah, blah, blah. But it's like I love working out. It's good for me to be active, but it's also good for my mindset, the discipline part of it, and the interacting with other people. Now, I like to have my earbuds in and really get to work, but I enjoy saying hello to people that are there all the time. But I was even thinking of when you said I get to work out at 4 in the morning. There's some people watching that will laugh at that, and say, "Well, that's a choice too."
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
But but the point is, it is a gift to be able to do it whatever time you go, for sure.
Mhm.
Um, so let's talk about, what's I know we won't have time to cover all this, but you're working with people in hospice, such a hard thing to do. You're in women's uh, prisons,
Presence.
delivering the word. I love all that you're doing to serve others.
Yes.
What's your ideal client? Who do you really love to work with? What gets you? I know it all gets you out of bed in the morning, but what
Right.
would be the appointment that you just can't wait to get to?
See, that's tough because, hospice, I kid a lot of people. They say, I cannot believe you enjoy working with hospice. I said, well, yeah, I'm making all these friends right before they cross over so they can put a good word in. So when I get there, he's going to know who I am, you know? So, but the thing is, I love witnessing to families. I love making sure that they are saved, their souls are saved before they cross over. I mean, I can go into stories after stories after stories, just, there's been situations where people have said, I'll ask them, do you know my God? Do you know God? And they'll say, well, God won't have anything to do with me because you just don't know what I've done. And, I have to reel back and I said, God loves you no matter what. So there's been so many people I had the opportunity to pray with and them to accept Jesus Christ into their heart before they passed. And that's one reason that is just one of many reasons that I love working with hospice. The women in prison right now, I've just put 200 of my books into prison. We're going to do 200 more. And it's called Start with Vision. Imagine going to death row and teaching Start with Vision.
Mm, mm,
I'm doing that. I'm
wow.
doing Start with Vision because what it's about is giving these women hope, no matter what they've done. And I can tell y'all, they've done some things that absolutely blows my mind. But when they tell you, a lot of them, when they tell you the root, and I'll give you one story. Have we got time to do one little story?
Yeah, absolutely.
There's this lady on death row, and you might have read about this. You can go on the internet and search it, but they were coming to get her two children, and she was thinking what she had been through, sexually molested as a child, all the way up. I mean, terrible childhood. She did not want her kids to go through what she's went through. And the more she thought about that, it drove her crazy. So they were coming to get her kids because her husband left her. She did not have a great environment for her children to stay in. They were going to take her children, and she didn't want her children to be in and out of foster home like she was, being sexually molested like she was. So she goes upstairs to get them ready, and she takes their little heads and hold them under the water. She gets them out after she drowns them and she dries them off. She dresses them up really, really pretty and she puts them on the bed. Now, to hear her tell this story, I am just like wrenched. I mean, in tears because it's going back to what she went through. Not excusing her for what she did. She did not want her kids to go through what she went through. She's on death row. And they came and got her kids and they arrested her and she's serving life.
Mm,
And then the question I ask her is, would you do it again? She says, if I knew my kids were going to go through what I went through, absolutely.
mm.
Because, and she has told us her story on what she's went through, and it's pretty bad. Now, we never think it's bad enough to kill your children, but it was pretty bad what she had to go through every night. And that's just one. And I'm doing and you're going to love this, Steve, because I'm a system girl. If you read my book, you're going to find out all about systems. I'm a system girl. A lot of the ladies in prison want to write their story, but they don't know where to begin. They want to talk about what God has done to them, because let me tell you, prisons today, God is in so many of these prisons today, like no, it just blows me away. So I put together a system, and a lot of these ladies they have filled out the papers and they're still filling them out, and they're putting out, where they came from, how they got to where they're at. We're breaking it all the way down to how is God active in your life right now? What are you wanting to do to change? Because I want them all to have hope. What are you doing to change? And what are you going to do when you get free? And this book is going to be amazing. It's going to be amazing to hear their stories. So I am in the process of putting that together.
Well, even that's amazing. That's going to be an amazing book for sure. I think back to the story you just shared with us, and it is horrific.
It is.
But what we tend to do is compare what she did. Like we would say, we would never do that, and most of us wouldn't.
No, most of us would.
But her sin is no greater than mine.
I know.
In God's eyes, it's not.
No.
Now there's her consequence is heavier for sure, and
Yeah.
there's different consequences. But one of the things that we say inside the You Are Worthy Network is your story's not over yet.
That's it.
And even her on death row, her story's not over yet.
No.
Or you didn't say death row, did you? You said life sentence.
No, she's death row.
She's dead, yeah.
Yeah.
Her story's not over yet. And you're bringing her hope.
Yeah.
God is bringing her hope through you and through others. So it is remarkable, even in the worst of scenarios, lots of room for God to do what only God can do.
Yes.
And her story's not over yet. Just like your story wasn't over in that coma, in that
That's right.
hospital.
That's right.
And that's encouraging to those listening, because there could be some listening that are having a really, really bad day or a really, really tough season that need that encouragement that your story's not over yet, folks. So, you know, you've got all this success going. Your life is full, and I mean that in the most complimentary way. It's Jesus said that we would have life to the full, or life abundantly.
Yes.
And you're certainly living out, it sounds like, your best life now. Tell us about a time when things, besides the meningitis, obviously, when you did struggle with feelings of unworthiness.
Right. And that would have to be when I guess I went through my divorce that I didn't want to go through. Because that was a really, really tough time. But my husband was he was living two different lives. And I had no idea. And I felt like everything was my fault. Now that was back when I was, in my 20s. So, that was a time that I did not feel worthy at all. Who am I? But, I learned that God turns your mess into a message. And in the mess that I was in, I am reaching so many ladies today that are going through that mess, that I can say, I've been there. I've been there. But I know how God's going to turn it around, and you're going to shine because you're going to be out there helping so many people.
Mm-hmm. Is it fair to say there's no way you could have gone through that season during and after your divorce without your faith?
It would have been tough. It would have been tough, but I've always had my faith. I always, even as a child, I lost 160 pounds, and you'll read about that in my book. I was one of those little kids that was sexually molested as a child.
Mm,
I and I think that's the reason I give my whole heart now to women because I want everyone to feel like they are worthy. I mean, they are worthy of so much. And I grew up, I mean, I lost 160 pounds from age 13 till I graduated because I wanted to be a cheerleader.
wow.
Saw the vision, and that's where Start With Vision came. That's where it was birthed, is when I sat on the bleachers when I was 13 years old and I watched cheerleaders turn cartwheels, thinking that I'll never be able to be there. I'll never be able to be on that field. And then something just turned in me when my mom put me in Weight Watchers. I had a coach. His name was Herbie. He was amazing. He would turn backflips, and when I'd lose an ounce, he would go ecstatic. But when I started actually losing weight and my clothes were getting so big and I had 4 outfits, my mother would pull my elastic and tighten my elastic up, and I would go to school just so proud because I knew one day I was going to turn a cartwheel and I was going to be a cheerleader. Did I become a cheerleader? No, I didn't, but I did go out for cheerleading and I did turn a cartwheel on that field.
I love that. And you know, I want to camp on something you said, like Herbie sounds like a great guy.
He was
I,
amazing.
I had a coach one time that all our coaching was virtual. And I forgot what it was, but I had achieved something I'd been working on. And she said, "You want to celebrate it?" I'm like, "Okay, how?" She goes, "No, right here." I'm like, "Okay." She had a confetti bowl
Mhm.
and she threw it all over. I mean, it made a mess on her computer keyboard, all over her desk, on her ring light, and all that. But I'm like, what a source of encouragement that she was, right? And
Yeah.
that's what Herbie was to you. And it takes me back to what you said about God's design for us to run together as a tribe.
Yeah.
Tell us about your support system over the year. Obviously, your family's been a huge part. Herbie's been a little part, but tell us about
Yes.
others.
It's just always, God just always brought somebody in to fill in that void. You
Yeah.
know, when I was moving forward, when I got stuck, when I got in that gap, and you read about gaps in my book, but when I got into the gap, there was always somebody there to pull me out. My husband was amazing when I got meningitis. You know, don't think for 1 second when you're in a coma, you cannot hear and you have peace. But I could hear my husband chewing the doctors out because they could not diagnose me. And so, God always, and may not be on your timing, but just wait. God always puts somebody in that gap with you to pull you through. And don't ever think
Right.
your setback is going to be a permanent setback. Because if you look around you, it's going to be a setup to push you forward. And that's exactly what happened to me.
Your setback, say that again. Your setback is going to be.
It's going to be a setup that's going to push you
Mhm,
forward.
mhm. That's so true, right?
Yes, because a lot of times we have to go through a setback to learn. We never fail, we grow and we learn. And we get pushed forward because we get more knowledge about where we've been.
Yeah. I tell people all the time, to your point, like when we were going through our very long 5-year adoption journey with 6 failed adoptions, when we were praying for just one kid. Uh, when our adoption agency parted ways with us, we had no leads, and God gave us 3 at one time. And people were like, "Oh, you were so faithful," and I'm like, "Not really. I mean, yeah, at times, but other times we doubted. And other time we were like emotional. We were like a roller coaster." I said, "But God can't
Yeah.
not be faithful. That's who he is. That's one of his characteristics, is
Yes.
that he's faithful. So he is going to provide that comeback
Yeah.
from your setback. So I love that. So when you do speaking, what's one of your favorite things to talk about from stage?
Oh my goodness, from stage. Well, I do a lot of workshops, but my main thing that to talk about is just knowing that time and money is not a factor. You can be and become and do anything that you want to do. A lot of times we let fear hold us back. And working with hospice, the one thing that holds people back is fear.
Mm,
Everybody always has some kind of regret. And I always ask that question, what do you wish that you did that you didn't get to do? And so that's the one thing I do is just, I have people to write, just write. I have these notebooks at my workshops where people do nothing but just write. Just write. We dream bigger than we've ever dreamed. And in my workshops, people have become pilots. People have went back to school to be nurses. I mean, it's just I can go on and on because they did not have that belief system in them that they could do it. But they can do it if you want it bad enough. So
I
just
love that.
going after what? Going after what? God's put a seed in every one of us. When we were born, He stuck that seed in us. It's up to us to grow it.
Mhm. You are definitely using the talents that God gave you to the fullest. You have not buried yours whatsoever.
Mm-mm.
I'm so grateful that you have it. Um, tell us, besides the book you were alluding to earlier, what's next for Susan?
What's next? Well, I'm writing books like crazy. I've got reading through the Bible in a year. This is my manuscript. So this is coming out because a lot of times when we read through the Bible, a lot of people get disconnected because they don't understand it. But when the Bible is about us, when we start, pertaining it to us,
Mhm.
we get so much more involved in it. So I've got more books, Steve. I mean, it's just like, start with vision. I have done so many workshops at churches, and they're all the time come up with something new. So now then, I'm in the process of putting together another Bible series, Grow with Vision. And it's going to be a stepping stone from Start with Vision. It's just going to be a little bit more deeper. But I love serving. I love serving. And no matter I'm coaching, I'm doing retreats, and I love that, and I love coaching, but I love serving. There's something about going into the prisons, walking down the hall, and hearing everybody saying, "There's that freedom lady. There's that church lady. There's Susan." But because their faces are up against, because then I know I'm giving them hope. I'm giving them hope. And there's just, wherever God takes me, because my mind, He's just opened up so many doors for me. And I just want to open up so many doors for others to walk through because God's got so much for each and every one of us.
Yeah, that's so true. Tell us one or two things that God has done in your heart that has grown you closer to Him since working with these women in prison.
Ah, just getting into God's word. I mean, this was birthed from prison. Going through the Bible in a year. This was birthed from prison because because we're doing a freedom with 84 ladies right now, 22's in my group. So many of them say, Susan, I want to read it, but I don't understand it. How many of you know
Mhm.
that? How many of you said, I want to get it, but I don't understand it?
Mhm.
So this right here, it's got questions at the end that you will get from that story because majority of the Bible is from stories that you will get from that story that you can pertain in your own life that you will answer in my going through the Bible in 1 year. So God's used me. He's pointed out, put me to the prisons, put me into different centers. He's pointed out so many things that's needed. So many things that's needed. And I've just going back to my systems, writing books, I can pop them out now like crazy. Because if you got a system, let me tell you, there is no limit. There is no limit what you can do.
Yeah, that's so good. Do the viewers have access to some of your systems in any of your books or any other means?
Yes, all they got to do is message me or shoot me an email. I've got systems. I keep systems for everything. I got a system for the lady that cleans my house. I mean, I've got a system on my diet that I do. I've got a system on my workout. I got a system on how I paid off everything I own.
Mm.
I mean, you got to have a system for your money. Where's your money going? Every dollar needs to have a name on where it's going. I got systems on everything I do, and systems work. Systems work. And that's the reason that's chapter 6 in my book. It's so huge. Learn how to put together a system, and you do that with a team. And when you get my book, you can go through there and it will tell you step by step on how to put together a system. You got to know the outcome that you want to have, and then you put it together. But how much time, how much activity, how much energy, and how much money it's going to take. And that's a team.
Love it.
Yeah.
Systems for everything, even for the the housekeeper to clean the
Housekeeper.
house.
Yeah.
Love it.
And she loves it too. She
Yeah.
loves it too because it lets her know what I expect of her. And then it gives her guidance on where she needs to go and what
Yeah.
she
Takes all the guesswork out of it.
does. It does.
Love
So
it.
get used to writing systems, guys, because it makes life so simple. It really does.
Yeah, this has been incredible, Susan. I'm so grateful for you sharing your warmth, your energy, and your vulnerability with us. I before we close it out, I'd like to give you an opportunity to just share a closing thought, whether that's encouragement, some wisdom you've gained along the way. What would you like to share with our viewers before we close out?
So many of us, we speak, we coach, we have so much going on, and we say we're too busy to serve. Guys, we're never too busy to serve.
Mm,
You will get more out of serving. When I spend my Mondays, my whole Mondays at the women's prison, I cry on the way home because I get to do that. I'm a coach for the greeters at my church. I've got 80 something people on my team. I serve there. I get to do that. And nothing will give you more joy than going and doing something for people that you cannot get paid back for.
there it is. Be a servant.
Yes.
Those opportunities abound.
Oh,
There's so many needs out there.
there
Be
is.
a servant. Find time to serve. Thank you, Susan. Thank you so much for being our guest today. It's been awesome. Guys, I hope you've been encouraged about what Susan has shared today. I hope that you know how much you're appreciated.
Mhm.
And I hope you know, you know me, I love this part of the day because I am confident that you haven't heard anybody say to you today that you are worthy, but you are.
Mhm.
Whether you are on top of the mountain today, meh, or not having a great day, doesn't change the fact that God loves you today. Doesn't change the fact that He knows every hair on your head, that you're engraved on the palm of His hand, and that He loves you. And you're worthy of love, respect, and success because of what Jesus did for you.
Amen.
Just like Susan's story wasn't over yet, your story's not over yet. Be encouraged. Have a great rest of your Wednesday. Until next time, God bless.